Deep in the Amazon rainforest, something is watching you. It has 8 legs, fangs as long as your finger, and it weighs more than a hamster. This is the Goliath birdeater, the heaviest spider on Earth. Right now, one is sitting perfectly still in the darkness, waiting. It's been in that exact position for 3 days, and when you finally get close enough, you'll have less than half a second to react. But unlike any predator you know, this spider doesn't chew its food. It does something that seems impossible, and it starts in the most unexpected way. Let's rewind for a second. You're not human anymore. You're a mouse. And right now, you're doing what you do every night, foraging for seeds on the forest floor in northern Brazil. The air is so thick with humidity, you can almost taste it. But you've done this 1,000 times. You know this territory, but suddenly you feel something is off. 3 feet to your left sits one of the most patient predators on Earth, the Goliath birdeater. This spider just waits. It's covered in thick, bristled hair, giving it a dark brown appearance that blends perfectly with the forest floor. In the dim light, it's completely invisible. The spider has 8 eyes, but it can barely see you. Its vision is so poor that it couldn't identify you even if you were standing right in front of it. So how does it know you're there? Vibration. Every single step you take sends tiny tremors through the ground, and covering the spider's 8 legs are thousands of specialized hairs called seta. These hairs are so sensitive they can detect the vibrations of a single footstep from several feet away. It can also tell exactly how big you are, how fast you're moving, and precisely where you'll step next. And when you move closer, the spider explodes from the darkness with shocking speed. Before your brain can even process what's happening, 2 massive fangs strike downward like daggers. Those fangs, each nearly 1 inch long, puncture straight through your body. They don't bite sideways like a dog or cat. The Goliath birdeater's jaws move forward and down, driving those fangs into you like hypodermic needles. And in that very instant, venom floods into your bloodstream. You try to run, but your legs won't respond, because what happens next is far worse than the bite itself. The venom coursing through your body is a complex cocktail of hundreds of different compounds, each with a specific job. Scientists have discovered that spider venom can contain up to 1,000 different peptides. Each one targets a different part of your nervous system, and the Goliath birdeater's venom uses what researchers call a dual prey inactivation strategy. First, there's the neurotoxic component. These molecules rush through your bloodstream and attach to your nerve cells. Specifically, they target ion channels, the tiny gates that allow electrical signals to pass between your nerves and muscles. Within seconds, your muscles begin to spasm uncontrollably. Then the venom blocks the signals completely. Your muscles receive the command to move, but the message never arrives. Paralysis spreads from the bite site through your entire body, but the venom isn't done yet. The second component attacks your metabolism. Enzymes begin breaking down your internal chemistry, disrupting everything from your oxygen consumption to your energy production. Your heart, which was racing moments ago, suddenly slows down. Your breathing becomes shallow, then stops entirely. Within a few mere seconds, you're completely paralyzed. And now that you're paralyzed, the spider does something you'd never expect. Unlike spiders that build webs and wrap their prey in silk, Goliath birdeaters have different strategies. It needs to get you somewhere safe. So with its powerful spider mouth parts, it grips your body firmly, then begins dragging you backward across the forest floor. And unfortunately, during this whole scene, you're still alive. It takes a little time, because the spider weighs about 6 ounces, roughly the same as a baseball, but you're nearly the same weight. Finally, you feel yourself inside the spider's burrow. These burrows can be up to 2 feet deep, dug into the soft, moist soil of the rainforest. And after all that, the real nightmare finally begins, because what the spider does next seems physically impossible. Spiders can't eat solid food. Their digestive system is so narrow, their throats so small, they can only consume liquids. So how does a spider eat a mouse? It doesn't. It drinks it. The spider uses something called extraoral digestion. The spider positions itself over your paralyzed body, then from its mouth begins secreting a thick fluid. Fluid contains some of the most powerful digestive enzymes found in nature. Peptidases that break down proteins, lipases that dissolve fats, nucleases that break apart your DNA, and specialized enzymes called asticins that begin liquefying your tissues on contact. The spider doesn't inject this fluid once and wait. It pumps it into your body repeatedly. The enzymes flood into you, and the reaction begins immediately. Guys, I really hope you're not eating for this. Inside your body, your muscles start dissolving. Your organs begin to break down, and blood vessels collapse into nutrient-rich soup. Within minutes, everything inside you is turning to liquid. But the spider needs to retrieve them, so it uses its stomach as a pump. The spider's stomach is surrounded by powerful muscles that create suction. It presses its mouth against your body and begins drawing the liquefied tissue back out, but it doesn't swallow everything at once. The spider sucks in liquid, then pumps digestive enzymes back into your body. Then it sucks again. This reflux process maximizes nutrient extraction. Every single molecule that can be dissolved is dissolved. Every protein, fat, carbohydrate is broken down and absorbed. The spider's chelicerae and mouth parts are covered in tiny hairs that act as a filter, preventing any solid chunks from entering its throat. Only pure liquid passes through. After 2 to 6 hours of this continuous feeding, there's barely anything left of you. The spider pushes its leftovers outside its burrow and leaves them in a neat pile. At least it's organized. Then the spider retreats into its silk-lined chamber after feeding on your liquefied remains. And it won't need to eat again for weeks, by the way. But the big question is, do these spiders eat people? Despite its terrifying name and massive size, the Goliath birdeater has never killed a human being. There are 0 verified cases of a Goliath birdeater attacking a person for food, because we're terrible prey for them. Think about it. The Goliath birdeater has a leg span of about 12 inches. That's really impressive for a spider. But a human is 5 to 6 feet tall. We are 60 to 100 times heavier than the spider itself. Even if the spider wanted to, it just couldn't drag us. It couldn't inject enough venom to kill us either, and it definitely couldn't digest us. The spider's entire feeding strategy is built around prey that weighs a few ounces at most. So what do Goliath birdeaters actually eat? Well, their diet is surprisingly boring. Studies show it's roughly 1/3 ants, 1/3 other spiders, and 1/3 miscellaneous arthropods like beetles, cockroaches, and millipedes. Despite their name, they actually rarely eat birds. See, the name birdeater comes from an 18th century engraving that showed a different species of tarantula eating a hummingbird. The image was so striking that people started calling all large tarantulas bird-eaters. But in reality, Goliath bird-eaters prefer ground-dwelling prey: earthworms, frogs, and occasional lizards or small mice. Flying prey is difficult for them to catch for obvious reasons. They're terrestrial hunters. They don't climb trees. They sit and wait. Only about 5% of their diet consists of flying insects. To humans, the Goliath birdeater is basically harmless. Oh yes, the bite is painful. People who have been bitten compare it to driving a nail through your hand or being stung by multiple wasps at once. The venom causes pain, swelling, and sometimes nausea, but there's never been a human death from a Goliath birdeater bite. The spider's real defense mechanism is the hairs on its abdomen. These are called iridating hairs, and they're basically barbed like tiny harpoons. When threatened, the spider uses its back legs to flick these hairs into the air. If they land on your skin, they cause intense itching that can last for days. If they get in your eyes, the irritation can be severe, and if you inhale them, they can irritate your respiratory system. To small animals like mice, these hairs can be fatal, clogging airways and causing suffocation. So why did nature create such a massive spider if not to terrorize humans? The Goliath birdeater is the largest spider on Earth by mass. Its body can reach 5 inches in length, and with legs extended, it spans nearly 12 inches across. But why did it evolve to be so massive? Size is expensive in nature. Larger bodies need more food, more energy, more time to grow. Evolution doesn't create giants without reason. For the Goliath birdeater, size brings 3 massive advantages. First, it can eat bigger prey. While smaller spiders are limited to tiny insects, the Goliath birdeater can take down frogs, lizards, and even small snakes. More prey options mean better survival odds. Second, it's too big for most predators. Birds that would happily eat a small spider won't mess with a creature the size of a dinner plate covered in barbed hairs. Third, metabolic efficiency. Larger animals have slower metabolisms relative to their size. A Goliath birdeater can go weeks, even months, between meals. In an environment where food isn't guaranteed, this is a huge advantage. Size also creates problems, of course. The spider's exoskeleton made of chitin can only support so much weight. If a Goliath birdeater were any larger, it would collapse under its own mass. But the Goliath birdeater is pushing the absolute limit of how large a terrestrial spider can be, and it's perfectly adapted to its environment. It lives in the upland rainforests of South America, primarily in Venezuela, Brazil, Ghana, Suriname, and French Guiana. These regions are humid, warm, and filled with the marshy, swampy soil that the spider needs for its burrows. The spider is nocturnal and emerges only at night when temperatures drop and humidity rises. During the day, it stays hidden in its burrow. Its entire life essentially revolves around that burrow. Female Goliath bird-eaters can live for up to 15 to 25 years. That's longer than most dogs. Males, unfortunately, only live 3 to 6 years. Why the difference? Reproduction. When a male reaches sexual maturity, he develops specialized hooks on his front legs. These are used to restrain the female's fangs during mating because, yes, the female will try to eat him. About 50% of males are killed or injured during mating attempts. If a male survives, he wanders off and usually dies within a year. On the other hand, females lay 50 to 200 eggs in a silk sac, which they guard fiercely. They even cover the egg sac with irisating hairs to protect it from predators. When the spiderlings hatch, they stay with their mother for 2 to 3 years, slowly growing through a series of molts. It takes them approximately 3 to 10 years to reach full size. This slow growth means populations don't recover quickly from losses, and that's a problem, because the Goliath bird-eater faces a threat it cannot fight. Humans. The Goliath bird-eater isn't listed on the IUCN Red List. Like most invertebrates, it hasn't been formally assessed, but that doesn't mean it's growing. Every year, thousands of acres of Amazon rainforest vanish. Trees are cut down for agriculture, the spider's habitat is disappearing. And unlike animals that can migrate, the Goliath bird-eater is tied to its burrow. If that patch of forest is destroyed, the spider has nowhere to go. The exotic pet trade makes things even worse. Goliath bird-eaters are captured and sold to collectors around the world. They're marketed as giant tarantulas and can sell for hundreds of dollars. But they make absolutely terrible pets. They're aggressive, nervous, and require expert care. Most die in captivity within a few years. Human fear doesn't help either. People usually kill Goliath bird-eaters on sight believing they're dangerous. But in reality, these spiders are beneficial. They control pest populations, eating hundreds of insects and small rodents throughout their lives. Scientists estimate that spiders worldwide consume between 400 and 800 million tons of insects annually. Without spiders, pest populations would explode. The Goliath bird-eater also faces natural threats. Tarantula hawk wasps are their most dangerous predator. These wasps paralyze the spider with a sting, then lay eggs inside its body. When the larvae hatch, they eat the spider alive from the inside. Coati, mammals native to South America, dig into burrows and eat spiders. Snakes do too, but the spider's most vulnerable moment is during molting. As it grows, it must shed its exoskeleton. During this process, it's completely immobile and defenseless. Even small insects can kill a molting spider. Despite all these threats, the Goliath bird-eater has survived for millions of years. It survived the ice ages, climate shifts, and even survived the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. But even so, it might not survive us, because we're destroying the world it depends on. Interestingly, in some parts of South America, people eat Goliath bird-eaters. They're considered a delicacy. The spiders are roasted in banana leaves after singeing off the irritating hairs. Locals say they taste like smoky prawns. The fangs are even used as toothpicks after the meal. One spider provides about 109 calories per 100 grams of meat. But culinary traditions aren't threatening the species, habitat destruction is. If the rainforests fall, the Goliath bird-eater could vanish quietly from entire regions. These giants may not be striking from the shadows or liquefying humans, but the stakes are just as real. The Goliath bird-eater is a marvel of evolution, and it deserves our respect, not our fear. Now, the Goliath bird-eater is massive, but it's nothing compared to the true giants that once ruled prehistoric Earth. Check out our video on why prehistoric oceans turned animals into giants to discover the hidden formula that created the largest predators our planet has ever seen. And as always, thank you for watching.